Hello guys, and welcome back to my channel. I am going to be recreating I should probably do that intro with my makeup on.
I ain't tryna be cool like you. Wobbling around in your high heel shoes, I'm clumsy. Made friends with the floor. 2 for 1, you know a bitch by 4. And 2 left feet, you know I always try.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you haven't heard, my name changed, Sensei Beauty. So welcome back to Sensei Beauty channel, where I teach you guys everything that I know and love about makeup. If you follow me on any of my socials, Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, you know that I recently did a 7-day makeup challenge where I challenged myself to come up with a unique makeup look every day. At the end of the challenge, I asked you guys to pick the winning look. So I asked you guys to vote for what look you guys wanted to see in a full-length tutorial. And I'm gonna be honest, I am a little bit surprised at which one got the most votes, but on the other hand, I guess I can kind of understand. So if you haven't already figured out, this is the look that won. So this was actually number 2 on my voting board, but number 3 in the actual video sequence that I did. This look, believe it or not, got 77 votes to recreate. Now, the reason why I say I'm a little bit surprised at which one won is because the green, I guess, poison ivy kind of look that I did on there with the green wig, that probably got the absolute most feedback out of all of them. But like I said, I can understand why I guess people voted for this one. Not to say that it doesn't look good, but it is the more natural. Well, it is the most natural one out of all of them. And I guess also one that more people can see themselves wearing outside. So I guess I can kind of get it. The runner-up was the green one, coming in with 57 votes. And the third runner-up was the blue, I guess you say the blue parakeet one, because I did pull inspiration from my bird for that look. But I did name her, and the name will be revealed in the video that I do. Before we get on with anything, I would like to remind you to please like this video and subscribe. It encourages me, it is free for you, and it just means so much when you subscribe to my channel, because that lets me know that I am doing my job as a beauty enthusiast, teacher, what have you. Once again, like, share, subscribe, okay? If you do not follow me on any of my social medias, my link will be in the description box below, as well as all the products that I will be using in the video. So without any further ado, let's get started. Okay, so first things first, I'm going to start off with my eyebrows. I'm not going to spend too much time explaining myself here because it's kind of cut and dry. I'll most definitely do a second video. It's probably going to be a mini video on how I actually do my eyebrows, but nothing too in-depth. So I'm just taking my Wet n Wild pencil that I got from CVS. It's like $6, and it works just as well as my Anastasia Beverly Hills pencil that I had, but only got because it was on sale. So yes, we're here just filling out brows, nothing too crazy. So we're going to go ahead and skip now. So I did want to actually go over concealer with you guys because it is now summertime and concealer and foundation is just really funky right now. Okay, like trying to figure out my color, my shade. Oh my lord, it is just a mess. But right here, I am actually using the concealer that I normally use on my face, which is the LA Girl Pro Concealer in the shade Fawn. Now, the only reason, as you can tell, it is very light and because I got a serious tan, but the only reason why I'm not opposed to using my winter shade concealer under my brows is because I do like to give my brows a little bit extra highlight because in my opinion, it helps to define the brows. This is another part that I'm going to skip. Why? Because I can be very, very anal when it comes to my eyebrows, and I will sit there and correct and correct and correct, and before you know it, the whole video was over and all I've been doing was talking about my eyebrows. So we're going to go ahead and skip again so we can get to the good stuff. So now we're going to move on to the good part the main part, the reason why all of you guys are here, the eyeshadow. So here I am using a eyeshadow primer. I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. In my first video that I did, the mini video in the challenge, I did not use an eyeshadow primer. So there's that. The second thing is I actually don't normally use an eyeshadow primer. This is the only eyeshadow primer that I own, and I got it a few months ago, probably, well, not a few. I got it the beginning of this year. And I have to say, I've probably only actually used it like 3 times. Not because I don't think that it is a good product, but because I personally don't think that it is a product that you need to spend a lot of money on. And specifically this eyeshadow primer, which is the Urban Decay Shadowlock lid primer, I think, something like that. It is like $23. And as you can tell, that tube is small. And no, it doesn't come in a large size, honey. Okay, so I don't believe that you need to spend a ton of money on an eyeshadow primer in order for your eyeshadow to look good, okay? You just need to know how to work with concealer and powder because you can pretty much get the same result. The whole point of an eyeshadow primer is for basically color vibrancy and color stay. So it helps your eyeshadow to be more vibrant, especially if you're using colors like, bold colors. And then it also helps your eyeshadow to stay in one place. So the oils in your skin can interfere with the way that your eyeshadow looks. And it is an actual thing. So I'm not saying that you don't need it. I'm just saying you don't have to spend that much money on it. Now on to the eyeshadow. So I am using my 35M or M35, however you want to call it, Morphe eyeshadow palette. And you guessed it, I'm dipping into the first orange shade, well, the most vibrant orange shade on that palette, which I love so much. And I am taking my, I don't have my brushes in front of me, so I actually don't even know the actual name, but I know that it is a blender brush. It is a fluffy blender brush. But I'm taking that brush and I'm packing on that orange color on the center of my lid. And the reason I'm packing is, you guessed it, because of color vibrancy. You want to get that color out. You don't want it to look all muddy and weird. Colors look best when they are their actual color. Duh. So, in order to get the most out of any shade, really, whether it be neutrals or colors, you want to pack the eyeshadow first before you start to blend. So that is a tip. That is a very important tip. So if you get nothing else from this video, just remember, pack first, then blend out your eyeshadow. Next step in this look is to take a fluffy dome brush. All of these brushes are from Morphe, by the way, and please forgive me for not actually telling you what their name is because I don't remember. But they will all be in the description. So I'm taking 2 brown shades, actually. I didn't show it on the palette, but on the outer corner of my eye, I'm using a darker brown, and on the inner corner of my eye, I'm using a lighter brown, and I'm just concentrating that shading and blending in my crease area. This eyeshadow is very simple, so you can honestly follow along with me if you'd like. It's only 2 shades, not too much of a science when it comes to blending, just orange in the middle, brown on the outsides, and then you just blend and you just keep blending until everything just works. I was having a little bit of trouble with blending out this brown, and I don't know if it was because of my brush or if it was because of the eyeshadow primer, but it was looking really patchy and it was getting on my nerves, and it took me way longer to blend than what I'm actually going to put in this video because it would be torture for you guys to just sit there and watch me continue to blend this eyeshadow. Okay, so I just went ahead and did that other eye off camera because it kind of ended up turning into a disaster. And I think it was because I did not let my eyeshadow primer dry down as much as I should have. And then it just started catching in weird places and it was just so strange. But we got through it. Still not exactly the way I would like it to look, but sometimes done has to be better than perfect. So we're just going to continue to go. So I am now lining my eyes with the Glossier liquid eyeliner in the shade Black. This is another thing that I'm not going to sit here and explain too much, because I know you're going to be like, oh my gosh, you make it look so easy. Can you do it? It's not easy, actually. I've been using liquid eyeliner since I was like 13. So I've had to practice many times, and I have come a very, very long way. Another thing I would like to say about eyeliner is you don't always need eyeliner. It's not one of those things where it's like, oh, it's a deal breaker if you don't have eyeliner. I personally do not like using like winged eyeliner on all of my looks, because then I just feel like it makes everything look the same. And if I do end up using wing eyeliner on all my looks, I like to vary in size. So for this one, because it is a little bit more, it's more on the natural side, I just did a thin winged eyeliner. I didn't do anything too dramatic. I didn't pull it out too far. Just, you know, a simple thin line, which is what I tend to go with a lot of the times when I just do my everyday makeup. But obviously, if you want to do more dramatic or what have you, you can do so much bigger. Now I'm using mascara. I'm still going to use eyelashes, but I like to put on mascara after I do eyeshadow, because the pigment tends to fall down onto my lashes and then it makes them look really dusty. So it doesn't blend with the false lashes too well. Now we're getting into the face. So I'm here priming my face. Because it is summer, my skin is dry. My skin is just going through it. I have to mix primers in order for everything to go smoothly. So this first primer I'm using is a Quenching Watermelon Primer. And the second primer that I like to use is the Maybelline Master Prime. And I believe that this is probably the best drugstore primer that you can find. I think it's like $8. It retails for $8. I usually get mine from CVS, but you can get it online. And it's just fantastic. All right, now moving on to foundation. I'm actually mixing two foundations here. I'm using my NYX Total Control Drop Foundation and my Wet n Wild Photo Focus Foundation. I have to mix the two in order to actually get my shade, because, you know, the sun just added so much more melanin to me. So I tried to use my winter shade one time and it was just a freaking disaster. So in order for me to get my color, I have to use the two, because the NYX Total Control Drops is a little bit darker and has more of a golden undertone, and the Photo Focus Foundation has more red undertone. So I am using my sponge, and you can either use a sponge or a brush. I personally feel like the sponge helps to blend it out smoother. It really helps it to get into the skin. And I feel like a brush, you know, I do use brushes sometimes, but over time, the bristles can be irritating to my skin, and I'm pretty sure I'm not the only person with sensitive skin. So, you know, the brushes, they're a good alternative, but I prefer to use the sponge. It's a lot gentler on my skin. And for me, I just feel like I get a smoother finish when I use the sponge. Next, we're going to add some concealer. And okay, I just have to say this because I know that you guys are probably wondering why I keep looking over to the side. So during this video taping, my birds were out of the cage and they now have wings. So their wings grew, so now they realized that they can fly. So they were flying all over the place, and I was getting a little bit nervous because I just didn't want them to fly in front of my camera, because that has happened before and I had to retape the entire thing. They were just on the floor. They were flying in circles. They were just having the time of their life. But that's enough of that. So here I am using my concealer, and I'm using the L'Oreal Paris Pro Glow Infallible Pro Glow Concealer. And this has been my favorite concealer for about 3 years now. And it's just fantastic. But what I will say is this concealer is more on the watery side, like it's more wet. So I do like to let it dry down first before I start to blend it out, because I want that concealer to stay in one place. I don't want it to go all over my face. That's not the goal. I just want it to highlight under my eyes, my chin, my nose, and my forehead. Even though my forehead is already big, but you know. I am also using the sponge to blend out my concealer, and I'm using the tip of it because it gives me more control in where I am blending this out, because once again, I don't want it to go all over my face. I want that highlight under my eyes exactly where it is supposed to be. After concealer, you must set your concealer with powder, and I am using the Wet n Wild Photo Focus loose setting powder. Sorry, I had to think about that. Loose setting powder in the shade Banana. So now I'm also contouring. The reason why I didn't really like go so much into that is because I don't normally contour, but I did for the sake of this video, and in my mini video I did contour. But instead of using an actual contour stick or palette, I just used the darker shade of the CoverGirl BB cream that I love so much. I just started contouring my nose, and not because I necessarily want to make my nose look smaller. I used to never ever contour my nose, but I figured something I should probably try out. I do like that. I feel like when I contour my nose, the highlight that I put on is a lot more centered and concentrated. It doesn't really feel like my whole entire nose is just lit up. So I do like contouring my nose for the sake of having my highlighter stay in one place. Now I'm dipping into my blush palette, and this is the e.l.f. blush palette. The reason why I didn't hold it up is because it is actually broken, so I do need to invest in another blush palette. But I'm using the two shades, which is more of a dusty pink and a dusty rose color, and I like to mix the two. I will say I need more blush because I use the same exact blush in pretty much all of my makeup looks, and I'm tired of it. I'm over it. I used to go through, I did. That's the reason why I only have one palette. I go through blush like crazy. I love blush. Now we're highlighting another Wet n Wild product. This is their highlighter, and it's a duo highlighter. One is more of a pink, and one is a gold with a little tinge of pink flakes. Now, me personally, I would have loved a highlighter with an orange tint. And the brush that I'm using here is actually not the brush that I usually like to use for highlight. I couldn't find it, and it was making me upset. So I was using another Morphe brush. Well, even my highlighter brush is Morphe brush, but it's not the same. But I was using an eyeshadow brush for my highlight. So I found my brush. Yes, I was very happy. And why not? Why not just go over the highlight that you already did with the brush that you actually wanted to do it with? Just added some more highlight. But I did blend it out, so, it didn't look too crazy. And then I actually took that same eyeshadow brush and I just popped some highlight under my brows. Now setting spray. This is a NYX matte setting spray. I don't use this all the time. I actually would have preferred not to use it, but I was too lazy to go and grab my all-nighter setting spray from on top of my shelf. So that's what we used. It's still a good setting spray, but it is matte. And like I said, my skin was already dry and I really didn't need that extra, dryness. Also, during this process, my video stopped recording. So I tried to pretend like I was reapplying the highlight to my inner corner, but to be completely honest, I already did it. I was just showing you that I used Rihanna's highlight for the inner corner of my eyes. Now onto eyelashes. These are not the eyelashes that I used in the mini video, because I actually ended up having to throw them away because I had already used them like 4 or 5 times before. And then, they're not anything super special. They're little cheapy little eyelashes, so they don't last too long. So after about 5 or 6 wears, I definitely had to throw them out. So these are a different lash line. Don't know what they're called, so don't quote me on that. But I just know that they're from the beauty supply store and they were $3.99. And I used the 3D, the reason why I showed you the glue is because this glue is actually fantastic. So I will link that in the description below. And that's also from the beauty supply store. It's a really, really good eyelash glue. And for the lips, I kept it simple. This is the same lip gloss that I used in the mini video. This is the NYX Butter Gloss in the shade Ginger Snap. And this is a lip gloss that I believe every single Black girl needs in their makeup arsenal because it's just so nice. That is it. We are finished with the look. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you for voting. Thank you for sharing, subscribing. And I will see you guys next time.